Harrison Ford, the Hollywood legend, is well known to all. Almost 70% of males can trace their influences back to this man. He is like a walking cultural museum. His resume includes characters such as Han Solo, Indiana Jones, and, most recently, the Red Hulk. Despite leading an exciting life both on and off screen, Ford has always kept his private life private, including his relationships, from the public eye. I suppose it's just from getting older. Perhaps he has finally had enough. At the age of 82, he has only recently revealed his past marriages and acknowledged the truth about his marriage, shocking many. Does his marriage include any truth? Why is he only now revealing this to us? The answer will be revealed at the very end of the video. Every one of us is interested in knowing the ins and outs of our favorite stars. Furthermore, in our reality, we are constantly updated on the whereabouts and activities of our favorite celebrities. However, things were different back then. In spite of the fact that people were willing to sacrifice their lives for the chance at a small reward every 6 months, such rewards were well worth the wait. Actually, it's not the same for Harrison Ford, but it's close. What makes matters worse is that this individual kept mum about his whereabouts the whole time. The only time the public would get a glimpse of Han Solo was when his films were in theaters, otherwise, he was completely invisible. As a result, we've gathered here today to serve you a Harrison life feast. Harrison Ford's stunning and secret existence will blow your mind, because, let's be honest, he's not what you believe he is. Harrison Ford came into this world in Chicago, Illinois, on July 13, 1942. As a child, Ford was around people who worked in show business. The mother of his son, Dorothy, was a Jewish radio actress of Ashkenazi descent. While his dad, John William Christopher Ford, was an ad executive and former Irish Catholic actor. If you're thinking this makes him sound like he struggled with religion as a child, that's not the case. His parents did their best to raise him right, but they may have been overly strict if he hadn't identified as Jewish or Catholic when asked about his religious background. A sarcastic Democrat was his response. His preference for loose religious tolerance was on full display here. Most people assume that Ford was a mischievous child, and they couldn't be more accurate. Actually, Ford was quite involved as a Boy Scout, all the way up to Life Scout. He supposedly found inspiration for his portrayal of a youthful Indiana Jones in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade while serving as a Boy Scout. Additionally, he honed his love of nature and animals during his time as a counselor at a scout camp. Ford became famous at Maine East High School for reasons other than his stunning good looks and impeccable taste. His rough voice became famous after he was chosen to announce the launch of the school radio station. In addition, he was the first sportscaster at the school. His love for the stage reached a fever pitch while he was a philosophy major at Wisconsin's Ripon College, marking the beginning of his career in show business. And had pledged allegiance to the Sigma New Order. If you're surprised to hear that Ford remained shy despite all these exciting pursuits, he overcame his stage shyness by enrolling in a drama class his senior year. It came as a shock to him, but he discovered he loved acting. After deciding he wanted to make acting his career full-time, Ford wasted no time registering for summer stock theater with the Belfry Players in Wisconsin in 1964. He then relocated to Los Angeles. A modest agreement through Columbia Pictures' talent program launched Ford's career in Hollywood. In 1966, he made his acting debut as a silent bellhop in the merry-go-round film Dead Heat. Ford wasn't one of those weaklings, but it's incredible that he had to deal with prejudice in his early career when a producer slammed his work by drawing negative comparisons to Tony Curtis. And his response, "A good actor could play a bellboy," demonstrated that he wasn't cowardly. His contract was supposedly terminated as a consequence of this revolt. For most individuals, life would crumble around them, but not Ford. It didn't seem to bother him at all. He handled it like a champ. He understood that when a location failed to honor him, it simply failed to acknowledge his value. As a result, he began appearing in films and supporting roles, including 1968's Journey to Shiloh. From 1970's Getting Straight to 1973's American Graffiti. Fun fact, he met his patron George Lucas while performing in American Graffiti. His career as a director would be forever altered, for better or worse, in case you didn't know. Let's investigate. Ford was rescued from the landfill by Lucas in 1977, and he was cast as Han Solo in Star Wars. Han Solo became a cult hero thanks to his portrayal of the brash, charismatic smuggler. Many credit him with turning Star Wars into a beloved franchise because of his role in the original trilogy. This was also the turning point in Ford's career, when he broke into the majors and began to rise to superstardom. Thanks to this hit, the 1981 film Raiders of the Lost Ark introduced audiences to another beloved classic character, Indiana Jones. Steven Spielberg, the film's director, saw potential in Ford and cast him in the iconic part. Is that all you think? Was it the end of it? Damn it, that's not true. Beyond these mega hits, Ford built a diverse career that included 1982's Blade Runner, 1993's The Fugitive, and 1985's Witness, for which he received an Oscar nomination. However, his breakthrough came from a different film. His most famous and beloved role to this day is the one he played for 4 sequels across his 40-year career, a role that cemented his place in popular culture. You guessed it, that's Han Solo from Star Wars. In 1981's Raiders of the Lost Ark, Ford played the role of the iconic renegade archaeologist Indiana Jones, catapulting him to superstardom. Indiana Jones, like Han Solo, became a symbol of popular culture, with Ford going on to star in a further 4 films within the franchise. In addition to these cultural touchstones, Ford portrayed Rick Deckard in the 1982 film Blade Runner and reprised the role in the 2017 sequel Blade Runner 2049. Actors often encounter a common issue. Ford, who never lets his age get in the way of his success, is unconcerned with the problem of narrowly focusing on one genre. Even in dramatic and serious parts, he strayed. On 1923, a Western series, and Shrinking, an Apple TV comedy, he dabbled on television. Despite being a living legend deserving of a biopic, very little is known about the man despite his immense acting talent. His acting chops aren't necessary to make him the most interesting guy in the room, he's that good. For the simple reason that Ford makes advantage of his flying abilities to conduct life-saving rescue missions in Wyoming. In addition to being an activist for environmental causes, he has served as Conservation International's vice chair since 1991. Both Ford's professional and personal lives were marked by extreme drama. A high school sweetheart and a young man from Illinois were his life before he became a Hollywood legend. Get ready to learn everything about this lady killer's love life, heartbreaks, and even his one true love, because at the video's end, you'll understand why he feels remorse whenever he discusses her, because we know you're hungry for specifics. So, let's not waste any time and dive straight into it. Marquardt, Mary. She was an illustrator and cook who had been Harrison's high school sweetheart and who waited for Ford to start his career in Hollywood. 2 sons were born to them after their 1964 marriage. William was born in 1969, while Ben came into this world in 1966. While acting, Mary launched a successful culinary business. However, things became more problematic when Ford achieved overnight fame in 1977 with Star Wars. It is said that Mary discovered Ford's alleged romance with a specific co-star in 1979, which led to the dissolution of their marriage. It was whom? Soon enough, you'll find out. Some people still make fun of Ford, claiming that Han Solo would have been impolite to turn down an invitation from someone as honorable as her. Regardless, the parents were mature enough to co-parent their children after their divorce, and now those children are prosperous restaurateurs and entrepreneurs. Even while Ford isn't very forthcoming about his private life, that doesn't imply we don't know anything. He said that his affair with Princess Leia of the Colorado Springs Rebels wasn't the primary cause of their divorce, indicating that the couple had been in conflict for some time. After his divorce, he felt devastated, but he picked himself up and gave love another go when he had a second major romantic interest. It is commonly believed that this new woman was the one who initiated the first divorce. Melissa Matheson was her name, and she was a scriptwriter. While filming Apocalypse Now in 1976, for which Ford was in a supporting role, he met Matheson. Except that Harrison was already married to Mary Marquardt when filming began, and his romance with Melissa started to bloom. Other than that, everything was fine. Matheson, who would go on to write 1982's E.T. the Extraterrestrial, was a production assistant during that time. In 1982, they began an affair, together with a legally binding marriage in 1983. Their modest, private ceremony in Santa Monica was a perfect reflection of their easygoing natures. Harrison looked great in his casual clothing, while Melissa chose a modest white dress. The simplicity and beauty of their love story made it all the more heartwarming. Malcolm was born in 1987 and Georgia was born in 1990, both of their children were named after them. Matheson's career as a screenwriter flourished. Yet Ford's unrelenting stardom caused him to lose control and make a mess of things. The breakup between Harrison Ford and Melissa Matheson was one of the most costly in Hollywood history, and the couple ultimately opted to end the relationship. Without a prenuptial agreement, their 2001 divorce took 3 years to conclude. A chunk of Harrison's future profits from films like The Fugitive and Indiana Jones went to Melissa as part of a $85 million settlement. Rumors circulated that Harrison's affair with actress Laura Flynn Boyle was the main reason for the divorce, however the actual reason is unknown. A New York City carriage ride and a nightclub booth were among the many times they were spotted together. It wasn't until after these 2 divorces that Ford met the one who would transform his life, the one he would later refer to as his soulmate. May I ask who it is? Find out by waiting. Let me tell you something before we get into Ford's love story. Our boy isn't exactly a picture of innocence. Despite a handful of more steamy encounters, Ford has chosen to remain silent about them. Say who you are. First, let's meet them. It is necessary for us to verify things first. The on-screen sexual tension between Han Solo and the elusive Princess Leia didn't stay there. When they weren't on TV, the princess wasted no time getting down to business, even though she only confessed when Han's life was in jeopardy. In her biography The Princess Diarist, Fisher said that the two had an affair for 3 months in 1977, while filming the first Star Wars. While Ford was 33 years old, Fisher was only 19. Beyond that, he had 2 children from a previous marriage. According to Fisher, as reality hit them like a ton of bricks, their inflated desire for one another, along with their relationships and dreams, swiftly dissipated. Rebels Han and Leia during the week and Carrie and Harrison, who were having an affair, on weekends. Despite her intense feelings for Ford and her wish that he would leave his wife, their affair did not last. Their secret affair came to an end after they spent one more night together before the last day of filming. Despite Ford's subsequent divorce, he and Fisher never reconciled. In her latter years, Fisher spoke frankly about the affair, while Ford, as usual, remained silent. Harrison Ford finally found love after being through so much, when he met Callista Flockhart, and their romance took off. With more twists and turns than an Indiana Jones film, their love journey reads like a fairy tale. In 2002, during the Golden Globes, they started their adventure together with an accidental wine spill, which caused tension and embarrassment between them. Their bond has persisted through the years, and Flockhart claims their 22-year age difference has never been a problem. The man himself, Ford, is still performing stunts and flying planes. Due to other commitments, who can remember how many birthdays there have been? Since most individuals look like a chihuahua before coffee, the fact that she thinks his unkempt morning attractive is probably the best evidence of their love. Ford and Flockhart tied the knot in 2010 after an 8-year romance. However, they accomplished it in typical Ford fashion, discreetly and with little fanfare. Despite Ford's busy schedule filming Cowboys and Aliens, they were married in New Mexico. So, who was the celebrant? Because even Harrison Ford's wedding has government sanction, it was done by none other than their friend, the governor of the time, Bill Richardson. Only Richardson's wife, an advisor, and their son Liam were there, making the guest list as exclusive as a clandestine espionage operation. Perhaps that's why Jon Favreau gave Ford a fondue set. He didn't even find out about it until much later. He had no interest in maintaining composure when they decided to keep it under wraps. This was done so they could maintain the integrity of their secret love story. Ford's involvement with Liam, Flockhart's adopted kid, as a surrogate father figure has been extraordinary. It was like to having Han Solo as a parent. He officially adopted Liam in 2010, although they had met when the baby was just 6 months old. Ford has embraced parenthood with open arms, despite entering the role at a later age. He's proven that even action heroes can be great at changing diapers by talking about the surprising joy of motherhood later in life. Their endearing relationship exemplifies Ford's dedication to family, as he effortlessly assumes a role he never would have thought of. But how will he manage Liam's outbursts when he's a teenager? We are crossing our fingers that it is yes. Her unwavering support for Ford's preoccupation with flying is a distinguishing characteristic of their relationship. Despite her initial reluctance, she eventually warmed up to Ford's enthusiasm for flight. Eventually, their son also caught the aviation bug, and flying became a family hobby. A technical malfunction caused Ford's antique World War II plane to crash land on a Los Angeles golf course in 2015, which put a damper on their love of flying. Ford suffered numerous injuries, including a fractured pelvis, in the accident. Thankfully, he was unharmed in the disaster, and his wife never stopped encouraging him in his passion for flying. "I love it because he likes it," she said. Who are we to pass judgment on Flockhart? Rumor has it that she could be after the insurance payout. After everything that happened, her support remained unwavering, but she might have subtly proposed they find a more secure shared pastime. Flockhart fully supports Ford since she knows how much flying means to him, even if he still gets scared when he flies. Mutual appreciation and tolerance for one another's unique qualities have always been the bedrock of their partnership. Their frequent appearances at public occasions over the years attest to their close friendship. At the Cannes Film Festival, Ford, who is now 80 years old, was spotted gazing lovingly at Flockhart. Some fans even started altering photos on Instagram, seeing it as a divine sign. The news of breakups is common, but the relationship between Flockhart and Ford? You can keep using it indefinitely. Romantic love is the most fulfilling sort of love, and Ford has said as much. He also proves that it's never too late to discover it. Ford and Flockhart have created an enduring bond that defies Hollywood cliches, from a covert wedding to a surprise fatherhood. Love can manifest itself in the most surprising ways, they're living proof of that, whether it's via spilt wine or a chihuahua-shaped awakening. Disregarding all conventions, they paid zero attention to the 22-year age difference, which, in reality, gave Ford a leg up in life. Did they allow themselves to be moved by these differences? Sorry, I disagree. Instead, they proved that being identical isn't necessary for deep love. It's about accepting and celebrating one another's eccentricities, like a love of flying or a tolerance for Harrison Ford in the morning. In addition, their chemistry is on full display during red carpet moments. Nevertheless, one particularly memorable incident occurred at the 2023 Cannes Film Festival. Standing ovation time for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny was imminent, and Flockhart sat behind Ford as he awaited it. Are you all interested in hearing his reply? At her, he grinned. He not only smiled, but he also publicly thanked her at the Los Angeles premiere of the film. My life has been enabled by my lovely wife. You have brought meaning and purpose to my life. Probably because the thought of retiring is too dull for Harrison Ford's character, Indiana Jones, he continues to work harder than the average person half his age. He recently resurrected his legendary role, venturing into the Wild West of 1923 while donning his trademark fedora. Even action heroes may learn to laugh at themselves, which is why he even stepped into comedy with Shrinking. However, there are other foundational elements to the connection between Harrison Ford and Callista Flockhart. It's also driven by a common desire to make a positive impact. Because a couple who fights for the world together stays together, Ford has been battling for environmental protection nearly as long as he has been dodging boulders, and Flockhart has been right there with him the whole time.